right, for math today we have a roll and count. So we've sent a number of these home over the last few weeks, so we're getting pretty familiar with these. So in our packet we're going to find our roll and count dinosaurs graph. We're going to find our data sheet. Go ahead and make your cube, and then you'll need something to write with on your data sheet and some colors for your graph. So the first thing I'm going to look at is to see that my graph only goes up to 5. So I'll probably want to pick 15 as a good number for graphing. So I'm going to go ahead and start rolling and graphing as I go. I'm going to use pens since that's what I have on hand where I am. So I rolled my yellow triceratops. Alright, so that's 2. Wait, what's that guy? Where's he? Yeah, there he is, right there. So I'm gonna color in one of him. So 3, so I'm gonna keep going until I have 15 rolled. All right, so I finished rolling 15 times, and I can see that this dinosaur I rolled twice. This one I rolled 3 times. This one I rolled 5 times. I didn't roll this guy at all. This one I rolled 2 times. And this one I rolled 3 times. So I'm going to come over to my data sheet, and I'm going to start answering the questions through my data sheet. So I'm going to look here. It gives me the picture of which dinosaur I'm looking at, and then I'm going to look on my graphs. If I look here, it's this one was 2. So I'm going to fill these ones out quickly because I know you guys have done this before and know how to do it. This one I had 0 and none. 0 is the number for none. And 2 of those and 3 of these. Alright, so now we're coming over here to our data sheet. So let's look at our data sheet. I'm going to move this up a little bit so you can see. Alright, so here we see, we learned about these last week with our little alligator mouths, the greater than and less than. So we're working on numbers that are bigger and smaller, which we will learn is greater and least. So we learned it was an alligator mouth, and he always likes to eat the bigger number because alligators are always hungry. So I'm going to look here, and it already gives me a number, so it wants me to look at 10 and then how many of these guys I have. So I have 3 of these guys, so I'm going to put it in here. So which number is bigger, is greater? Is 10 or 3? Right, 10. So I'm going to circle this one that looks like he wants to eat the 10, and that will say 10 is greater than 3. So let's look at this one. I've got 4, and this dinosaur right here, which I know had 2. Alright, so which one's bigger? Which one's greater? 4 or 2? 4. So my 4 is greater, so I'm going to circle the sign, the alligator mouth that wants to eat the 4, and that would say 4 is greater than 2. Alright, so let's look at my next dinosaur right here. How many did we have? I had 2. Alright, so I'm looking at the numbers 3 and 2, and I'm comparing them. So which one is bigger? Is 3 bigger or is 2 bigger? Alright, 3 is bigger, so we're going to circle this one, the one that wants to eat the 3. And that says 3 is greater than 2. Alright, last one here. So we've got our triceratops. I had 5. Alright, so looking at 7 and 5, we're going to compare 7 and 5. There's your number identification. Which one is bigger? Is 7 bigger or is 5 bigger? Remember, if you need to draw pictures of 7 and 5 to see which one's bigger, or you need to make groups. Remember last week we used Legos to count with. You can use buttons, pennies, anything that you need to help you count, what we call manipulatives, then that is fine to see which group has more. So 7 is greater, is bigger, so we're going to circle this little guy who wants to eat the 7. 7 is greater than 5. So something I forgot to do before we even did all this is I didn't look at my graph to see which of my data on my graph told me which one we had the most or least of. So I'm gonna come back over there and do that before I come and do the addition. So which dinosaur do I have the most of? The greatest number. It's also gonna be my tallest tower right now. Mine was this. Which one did you have the most of? Did we have the most of the same? All right, which one did I have the least of? At least I had this one, my smallest. I didn't roll any of this guy. Did you have any that rolled 0? All right, and which groups have the same? I have 2 groups that did the same. These ones were the same. They both had 2. And this group was the same. They both had 3. So I always like to make sure that I discuss the data that I see, visually observe on my graph, so that I know how to take that information and bring it over here to where I'm working with my numbers. All right, so this one is having us do addition, but only giving us one of our dinosaurs to work with. So if your child is working on counting on, you can always start with the number and count on. So for example, it wants me to do 6 plus 3. So if ready, you can start at 6 and say we're going to count on 3 more. So we're at 6 and we're going to count on 7, 8, 9. So 6 and 3 is 9. 6 plus 3 is 9. If you are not there yet, that is perfectly fine. Then we can either make pictures to show, or we can use manipulative. So sometimes when we don't have anything to grab to go count, buttons, cubes, pennies, whatnot, I'll teach my students to draw pictures. So 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dot, 4 dot, 5 dots, 6 dots, and then over here 3 more dots. So then they can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So those are just different ways that you can do the same activity depending on skill. Now if you want a number line, so if you have a number line, I'm going to draw a real brief one down here. If you had a number line that had 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you can do the same thing like counting on, just on a number line. So I'm going to start at 6, and I'm going to count on 3, which means I'm going to make 3 hops. 1, 2, 3. What number did I end on? 9. So 6 and 3 more is 9. Any of the ways are completely fine. So go ahead and continue with your last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 problems, and keep up the great work.